Hello everyone, my name is Bipin Abram and in today's video we are going to do some numericals based upon chapter 1 physics. So this is important numericals on electric charges and field, and that is part 1 of the video. So more videos will be coming, right? So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So let's look at the first question here. The first question says that we have 2 point charges plus q and plus 9q, and they are separated by a distance of 10a. Great. Find the point on the line joining the two charges where electric field is 0. Right, so this is a question which belongs to balancing of electric field, right? So you guys can pause the video and can try to do the question, right? Okay, so basically what is happening in the question, I have two charges. One charge is plus q, right? Another charge is 9q, right? 9q, and again 9q is also positive, right? They are being separated by a distance of, let's say, not let's say, it's actually given, that is 10a. They are separated by a distance of 10a. Great, right? And the question is asking me, find the point on the line joining the two charges where electric field is 0. Obviously I want to find a point in between these two charges where I can put my test charge, and where there the test charge will not experience any kind of electric field, right? So as you guys can see, both the charges are positive in nature, so that means my balancing point will be in between both the charges, right? Great. So obviously I'm going to bring my test charge q0 and I'm going to place it somewhere here in between both the charges, right? Okay, so let me just bring my test charge and let me say I have placed my test charge here, right? Let me call this point O. Let's say this is point A, this is point B, right? So obviously I have brought my test charge here, so the test charge is also positive in nature. So because of the positive, test charge, this q0 charge is going to experience electric field because of A in that direction. So I'll write it electric field because of A, right, in that direction, right, which is in that direction, right? Great. And obviously because of B, this q0 charge is going to experience electric field in that direction, right? I hope you guys can understand, right? So I have to find, so let me say this distance is some x distance away from my plus q charge, right? Then I know that this the left distance will be 10a minus the x, right? I hope that is understandable to everyone, right? Great. So according to my question, I have to balance my electric field at point O, right? So all I have to do is just write the equation, that is electric field at B in magnitude will be equal to electric field at A in magnitude, right? Now I'm left with writing the electric fields for A and B, right? Okay, so let's talk about what will the value of electric field for B, right? So the distance between them is 10a minus x, right? And the charge is 9q, right? So I can very nicely write it here, right? Electric field because of B will be simply given as k multiplied by 9q divided by 10a minus x whole square. I hope that is understandable, right? So what I have did, it is nothing but very simple. I have a plus q charge. Because of plus q charge, if I am supposed to find out electric field some r distance away, so let's say at p point I'm supposed to find it, that can be given as kq upon r square. Same thing I have used it here, right? I hope you guys can understand that, right? Great. So electric field because of A will be simply given as, so you guys can see, because of electric field is in that direction and the distance between them is x, right? So I can write it over here. This is k times my plus q charge divided by x whole square, right? I hope that is understandable, right? So I can clearly see the k is cancelled out, q is cancelled out, and we are left with 9 upon 10a minus x whole square is equals to 1 upon x square, right? Now next step is taking square root on both sides, right? I can do the square root, right? So taking square root on both sides, we will get this will be plus minus, obviously I'll get two roots, that is plus minus 3 upon 10a minus x is equals to 1 upon x. Again, I will be interested only in the positive root. I will not talk about the negative root. So let's talk about the positive one. So that will be 3x is equals to 10a minus x, or I can say 4x is equals to 10a, or x is equals to 10a upon 4, or simply you can write it 5a upon 2. So I got the value of x, right? So I got the value of x, that is x value is 5a upon 2. I can find out this value. It's very simple. This is 10a minus 5a by 2, or very simply I can write it 2. This is 20a minus 5a, and this will be 15a by 2, right? So I hope you guys can understand that. So I will get my balancing point at 5 by a distance away from my plus q charge, and 15a by 2 from my 9q charge in that direction, right? I hope that is understandable, right? Great. So if that is understandable, let's move to our next question. This is our next question. You guys can see this question came in CBSE board exam in 2007. It's old, but yeah, still old is gold, right? Okay, so I can see there is a figure. There is a surface S1. Inside the surface there is a charge Q. Then there is another surface that is S2, and inside that surface I have 2q charge, right? The question is asking find the flux through S1, that is the first question. Second part of the question is find the flux through S2, that is second part of the question. Third part of the question is flux through S1 when space inside S1 is filled with dielectric of dielectric constant K is equals to 5, right? So let's do the question one by one. You guys can pause the video, can try the question, right? Great. So let's do the first part of the question, that is flux through S1. Okay, so flux through S1. So here is my S1 surface, right? So you have to ignore the other surface, right? We are only right now, the question is only asking about flux through S1, right? And I can see the S1 includes my plus q charge, right? And I know by Gauss law I can very nicely say, Gauss law said the net flux that is passing through any closed surface, you have to assume this is a closed surface, this is not a circle, this is actually a sphere, right? S1 is actually a sphere. Very similarly S2 is also a sphere. It is not a circle, it's a sphere, right? So according to Gauss law, the net flux that is passing through the entire closed surface is given as 1 upon epsilon times the net charge that is enclosed, right, inside it, right? So that means the flux through S1, I can very nicely write flux through S1, very nicely write it as, can I write it Q upon epsilon naught? I hope there is no doubt in this particular expression. See, you guys can see the S1 the S1 surface include my Q charge, right? Q is the net charge that is inside there, right? And we have said from a Q charge I'll get Q by epsilon naught as my flux that is passing through that closed surface. I hope that is understandable. The first answer is the net flux that is passing through your S1 surface is Q by epsilon naught. This is by Gauss law, right? By Gauss law. I hope that is understood. Second part, flux through S2. Okay, you guys can do, this is simple. I hope you guys can understand. This is my S2 surface. Again, this is a sphere. Now you have to understand here, this S2 surface has 2q charge as well as q charge. Q charge is also included in your S2 surface, right? So I hope you guys can understand that flux through S2 will be equals to the net charge, right? That is Q net divided by epsilon naught. I can use this formula by Gauss law, right? So what is the net charge? You guys can see net charge is 2q plus q. I hope you guys can see that, right? This is 2q plus q divided by epsilon naught, right? So what is the flux through S2? Is actually 3q by epsilon naught, right? I hope that is understandable, right? Great. Let's talk about the third question. Now third question is interesting. Third question is that flux through S1 when space inside S1 is filled with dielectric, right? So I'm supposed to find out flux through S1. Now there's a condition here. Condition, what is the condition? Condition is that this space inside is actually filled with a dielectric. A dielectric with a dielectric constant K is equals to 5, right? So obviously dielectric means obviously some medium has been introduced here, right? So because of the medium, it will be difficult for the flux to come out from that Q charge. I hope you guys can understand this, you know. I hope you guys can understand this logic, right? Because there is a dielectric, there is a medium inside, so obviously it will be difficult for the flux to come out, right? I hope you guys can understand that. Is that a yes or no? Great. So how much difficult for, so obviously the value of flux will be reduced, right? So you guys have to understand here, when there was no dielectric, right? When there was no dielectric, the value of flux was coming out to be, the value of phi was, yes, Q by epsilon naught, when there was no dielectric. Now the dielectric has been introduced, right? Now dielectric is introduced. Now obviously, as the dielectric is introduced, the value of flux that is passing out of that closed surface S1 is going to be reduced. Now how much is going to be reduced? Now this is something which you have to remember. Now you will have a new flux, that is your phi dash. That phi dash will be definitely, this phi dash will be definitely less than your original flux, right? Now how much it is less? It is actually less by the factor K, dielectric constant. It will be less by the factor of dielectric constant. That means, now this is something which you have to learn, right? So that means this will, your original phi was your Q upon epsilon naught divided by K. The value of K is 5 for this question. That means your new phi dash will be equals to Q upon phi times of epsilon naught, right? I hope that is understandable. Is that a yes or no? Just learn this particular factor, that if a dielectric is introduced, then your actual flux that is passing out will be reduced by the factor of dielectric, right? It will be reduced by the factor of dielectric. It will be divided by dielectric constant, right? I hope that is understandable, right? Great. Let's move on to the next question. Next question is that, okay, this is a NCERT question. You guys can see this is an NCERT question. This is back exercise 1.18, back exercise 1.18, right? Okay, great. A point charge plus 10 micro, this is micro sign, plus 10 microcoulomb is at distance phi, okay, it's actually is at distance 5 centimeter directly above the center of a square, great, of side 10 centimeter as shown in the figure, right? You guys can see there is a figure. Okay, what is the magnitude of electric flux through the square? The question is asking you, what is the magnitude of the flux that will be passing out through this square? There is a charge 10 microcoulomb which is kept at 5 centimeter distance above my square, right? So you guys can pause and can do this question, right? Okay, see how to solve this kind of questions. Basically a simple trick is being used here, right? Now what is the trick? Trick is that I have to assume the full square. See, there is only one square. I have to assume a 3D figure which encloses my 10 microcoulomb charge, right? So how I can imagine that? I can very nicely imagine a cube here. I hope you guys can, you guys can agree with me. I'm actually imagining a cube here. I know the diagram is not right. Diagram is not coming out to be right, but yeah, I am actually imagining a cube here where this charge is at the center. This charge is at the center, right? So instead of 10 microcoulomb, let's say a Q charge is kept, right? Just for the understanding sake, right? Let's say Q charge was kept at this place. How you would have solved it, right? So if a Q charge, so it's basically now a question. Now this question has been turned into something like this, that you have a cube, and in the middle of the cube you have a plus Q charge kept, right? So obviously when the question is like that, the net flux that is passing throughout the cube will be simply given as, yes, q upon epsilon naught, right? This is something which we already know, right? So very similarly, same analogy I'm going to use. I have imagined a cube of 10 centimeter as my dimension. All right, and obviously this is, you guys can see, this is 5 centimeter. That means it is kept at the center, right? So I can very nicely say the net flux that is passing through this cube will be simply given as, just this cube will be simply given as phi is equals to the net charge, that is your 10 microcoulomb divided by epsilon naught, right? Or I can write it here, 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 coulomb upon epsilon naught. That is, this is your net flux passing through this cube. Yes or no? Now the question was that I'm supposed to find out how much flux is actually passing through this square only the one face of my square. That was the question, right? So very simple, use unitary method. So there are 6 faces in a square, sorry, there are 6 faces in a cube, right? So 6 faces, how much electric flux? That is q upon epsilon naught, right? That means one face will have how much electric flux? That is q upon 6 epsilon naught. I hope you guys can understand, right? All you have to do is put the values here, right? So flux passing through one face of cube will be equal to, this is 10 to the power minus 5 upon 6 epsilon naught, and this coulomb. So this much flux will be passing through that square part having dimension 10, right? I hope that is understandable. Is that a yes or no? Great. Let's move on to the next question then. This is question number 4. Again, this is an NCERT question. You guys can see NCERT question. I haven't written which question, but yeah, it's actually NCERT question. Okay. 4 point charges, QA is equals to 2 microcoulomb, QB is equals to minus 5 microcoulomb, QC is equals to 2 microcoulomb, QD is equals to minus 5 microcoulomb, are located at the corners of a square ABCD of side 10 centimeter. Okay, great. What is the force on the charge of 1 microcoulomb placed at the center of the square? Great. So let's, okay, you guys can pause and you guys can try it out, right? So basically I have to draw it out so that you guys can understand more precisely, right? So let me just very quickly make a square. I hope this will be a square. Okay, great, I got a square, right? So there are charges which are kept at the vertices of the square. There is one charge here, there is one charge here, and there is one charge here, and there is one charge here. So let's see. So let's say this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. I hope you guys can understand. So A has 2 microcoulomb charge. Great. B has minus 5 microcoulomb charge. Great. C has 2 microcoulomb charge. Okay, 2 microcoulomb charge. Very good. And D has minus 5 microcoulomb. So D has minus 5 microcoulomb charge. And according to the question, the side is, okay, the dimension is given, that is 10 centimeter is the dimension of the square. Great. So what is the force on the charge of 1 microcoulomb placed at the center of the square? Okay, great. So let me draw this thing out. So basically there is this center. The center has, let me call this center O. The center has 1 microcoulomb charge. The center has 1 microcoulomb charge, right? I hope you guys can see that. Let me write it again. The center has, okay, the center has 1 microcoulomb charge. I hope you guys can see, right? Great. So the question is asking us the net force on this 1 microcoulomb charge because of all the other charge that is at the vertex, right? Okay, great. So one of the important things in order to, obviously we are going to use superposition principle, right? That is like, you guys, as you read the question, you guys can understand that, right? Okay, now few things we have to find out, right? So all, see, you guys can see this is a positive charge, right? This is a positive charge and this is a negative charge. So because of these two charges there will be force of attraction, right? So I can draw it here. This is force on O because of D, right? I hope you guys can understand that. Okay, force on O because of B. Now you have to understand, force on O because of B will be in this direction, because again your B charge is negative in nature, right? So this will be force on O because of B. Great. Now let's talk about force on O because of A. Will that be in this direction? I hope you guys can understand, because your A charge is positive and obviously the charge that is kept at O is also positive. So I can write it force on O because of A, and you guys can see very similarly force on O because of C will be in this direction, right? Because again your C has a positive charge and obviously O charge itself is positive, so I can write it force on O because of C, right? So I have done all the vectorial arrangements, right? One thing is for sure, I hope you guys can see that. What is the thing that you have to see? That the angle between these vectors is actually 90 degree. I hope you guys can see that angle between them are actually 90 degree. And by symmetry you have to understand, by symmetry I can actually find out this distance, right? All these distances are equal, right? That means AO is actually equal to OD is actually equal to OC is actually equal to OB, right? All these distances will be equal. I hope you guys can understand that, right? So I can actually find out those values. How will I find out? See, basically I can find this value. Can I find the value of diagonal? And I can find the value of diagonal. I can just, by symmetry, I can say the half of the diagonal will be actually my OD, OB, OA and OC, right? Okay, so diagonal will be, I can do Pythagoras theorem, 10 square, right, plus 10 square is equals to my hypotenuse square, right? So what is this 10 basically is your CD. Let me write it, CD square plus CB square is equals to BD square, right? Pythagoras theorem, so that you guys can understand, right? This is 100 plus 100 is equals to H square, or I can write it 200 is equals to H square, or H is equals to root of 200, or I can say this is actually 10 root 2. Yes or no? This is basically H, you can write it. So here H you can write 2 into 100, and 100 root is actually 10. So 10 will come out. This is 10 root 2, right? So 10 root 2 is the diagonal value. So H by 2 will be is equals to 5 root 2, and this is actually your OD is equals to your OC is equals to your OB is equals to your OA, right? I hope that is understandable. So all these values are same, that is 5 root 2, right? That means what you have found out, you have found out the distance between these charges, right? So all you have to do is just put the value of distance, right? Now one more important thing you have to understand, this 5 root 2 is in centimeter, right? It is in centimeter. You have to convert it into meters also, okay? All right, so how will you convert it into meters, right? So I know 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeter, or I can say 100 centimeter is equals to 1 meter, right? Or I can say 1 centimeter is equals to 1 upon 100 meter, or also I can write 5 by root 2 centimeter is equals to 5 by root 2 upon 100 meter, right? Or I can simply write it 0.05 multiplied by root 2, right? This much meter is the answer, right? So you can take this value seems good, right? We can solve the problems by this value, right? Okay, now this thing is done. Now all we have to do is find out the values and then add them, right? Okay, great. So this is your O. I hope you guys can understand. This is your FOB, force on O because of B. This is my FOD, force on O because of T. This is my force on O because of C, and this is my force on O because of A, right? I hope that is understandable. All we have to do is put the values here, right? Okay, what is FOC? Let's try to do this. FOC, where is FOC? You guys can understand that FOC is this one, right? So that means this is the charge, right? And there is this charge, right? And distance between them. So let me just very quickly write it. 9 into 10 to the power 9. This is the value of K, right? I hope you guys understand. K into one of the charges 2 into 10 to the minus 6. 10 to the minus 6 is for micro, right? This is coulomb. Multiplied by 1 into 10 to the power minus 6, again coulomb, divided by, I can use this value 5 root 2 upon 100, right? I can use it 5 root 2 upon 100 whole square. I hope you guys can understand that. Yes, so you will get FOC is equals to, yes, 9 into 2, 18, right? I'll get 18 into 10 to the power 9 minus 12 divided by, this is 1 into 100 square, let's say. This is 25 into 2. This will be actually 100, right? So I hope you guys can see that. This is FOC is equals to 18 into 10 to the power, this is minus 3, multiplied by, this cancels out with this. Sorry, I'm really sorry. This will not cancel out with that. So this will be actually 100 divided by 50 into 100, right? So 52, and this will be FOC is equals to 18 into 200 into 10 to the power minus 3, or I can write FOC is equals to 18 into 2 into 10 to the power minus 1, or I can write FOC is equals to, right, this is 18 to is 36 divided by 10, or I can say 3.6 Newton. So I got the value of FOC is 3.6 Newton. I hope you guys can understand that, right? FOC is 3.6 Newton, right? Okay, so let's solve the other part. Right? So I got FOC, let me write it here. FOC is 3.6 Newton. Great. Let's move on to the next part. Let's talk about FOA. Let's talk about FOA next, right? FOA. Right. So FOA, where is FOA? FOA is this one. You guys can see there is this one charge, there is the another charge, right? I hope you guys can understand. This is the first charge, this is the second charge. Distance between them I already know, right? So you guys can see this will be 9 into 10 to the power 9 into, what are the charges again? 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 multiplied by, yes, 1 into 10 to the power minus 6 divided by, I hope you're getting the same value, 5 root 2 upon 100 square, right? So actually FOA will also have the same value, that is 3.6 Newton, right? I hope you guys can understand. So FOA is also getting 3.6 Newton. I hope you guys can see that, right? Great. Now let's move on to the next one. The next one is FOB. Let's talk about FOB, right? So for FOB you can see this is one charge, this is next charge, distance between them, right? Okay, great. So let me talk about FOB, right? So FOB, let's do it. So you will get 9 into 10 to the power, yes, 9 into, what is the first charge? First charge is your 5. You guys can see this is your 5 microcoulomb, right? So let me write it here. This will be 5 into 10 to the power minus 6 into, the middle charge is 1 into 10 to the power minus 6 divided by, this is 5 root 2 upon 100 whole square, right? So you will get your 9 into 5, this is FOB is equals to 9 5 ja 5 9 ja 45, right? Great. And this will be 10 to the power 9 minus, yes, 12 divided by 1 into 100 square by, this is actually 25 multiplied by 2. I hope that is understandable, right? So this is FOB is equals to this is 45 into 10 to the power minus 3. This is actually 2 into 100, right? I hope you guys can see that. And 45 into 2 will become 90. 90 into this, and this will become 10 to the power minus 1, or I can say FOB is actually coming out to be 9 Newton. I hope you guys can see that, right? So FOB is coming out to be 9 Newton. I hope you guys can understand that, right? I hope that is understandable, right? Great. Now we are only left with FOD, right? We are only left with FOD, right? So let's do the FOD part also. So for FOD, I have D, I have in between, I have 1 microcoulomb, and I have, you know, minus 5 microcoulomb. Again, distance I already know. So let's try to do FOD, right? So FOD will be your 9 into 10 to the power 9 multiplied by 5 into 10 to the power minus 6 multiplied by 1 into 10 to the power minus 6. Again I think you will get the same value, that is 5 root 2 divided by 100 whole square. Actually you will get the same value as your FOB. So your FOD will also be 9 Newton. I hope you guys can understand that. Is that a yes or no? So you get FOD is equals to 9 Newton, right? Again, now you have to understand here your, let me again draw it here. Draw the, you know, vector diagram FOB FOC. This was your FOB, this is your FOC, right? And FOD and FOA, FOD and FOA. Can you guys see here? FOB, that is 9 Newton, and FOD, that is also 9 Newton. They are equal and opposite. They are equal and opposite. So they will cancel each other out. So the net force in this direction will be 0. Very similarly, look at FOA and FOC. FOA and FOC. They also have same values. Can you guys see that? They also have same values. So can I say they will also cancel each other out? Or I can simply say the net force on your 1 microcoulomb charge, just like kept at the center, will be actually 0. I hope you guys can see that. Is that a yes or no? I hope everybody can see that. Yes? Okay, great. So that's all for today's video. I hope you understood the video. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. That's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.